blind spots. Have you ever been out for a drive on a lovely day? You check your mirror and prepare to change lanes.
Sorry, I didn't see you.
You didn't see the car. They were in your blind spot. A blind spot is an area where a person's view is obstructed. Just like we have blind spots when we're driving, we all have blind spots about our personal selves.
He knows there's a chicken on his head, right?
Things about ourselves we do not see, but others can easily recognize. It's important to be aware that we all have blind spots.
Oh, hi. Do you know there's a chicken on your head?
However, since our blind spots are unknown to ourselves by nature, another person will have to reveal them to us. This can be tricky. Receiving feedback can be difficult to hear, especially if we perceive it as negative. Unknowingly walking around with a chicken on your head isn't very realistic. Yet all of us can be that unaware of what our personal blind spots are. Let's look at some common blind spots. Blaming others or circumstances instead of taking personal responsibility. Being insensitive to how your behavior impacts others. Avoiding difficult situations. Going it alone instead of asking others for help. Treating commitments casually. Having an "I know" attitude. Often accepting good enough instead of your best. Personal blind spots often affect the workplace as well. Let's look at a few examples. Taking over conversations by interrupting or not allowing others to share their ideas.
Our meeting went pretty well.
It's always so hard to share my ideas when he leads.
It's frustrating that he always interrupts us.
Not actively listening. Having a tendency for your mind to wander and not fully paying attention or actively listening when someone else is speaking with you. Confirmation bias. For example, choosing the ideas and opinions of your team that align with or reinforce your own thoughts and beliefs, rather than seeking out and embracing possible contradictory ideas and beliefs. This may even mean only putting people on your team that always align with your own thoughts and ideas. Always looking at things in a negative light. Having an attitude of, "This probably won't work," instead of thinking, "How can I make this work?" Being insensitive to how your behavior affects others. For instance, sharing an inappropriate joke in the break room.
Isn't that joke hilarious?
How do you recognize and address blind spots? Solicit feedback from others and be willing to use it. It's best to receive 1 or 2 pieces of feedback at a time. This allows you time to process and work on changes without feeling overwhelmed. Surround yourself with diverse thinkers and varying viewpoints. Have the intention of learning from them. For example, looking back over past conversations and realizing you do tend to interrupt when others are speaking. You always have some kind of comment to make and cannot wait for your turn to speak. Have someone you trust to keep you accountable. This can be a coworker, a friend, a spouse, a person you can hear hard things from in an encouraging way. For instance, you have been given new leadership responsibilities at work. Your lack of self-confidence triggers a blind spot behavior. You begin to undermine your abilities to yourself and your coworkers. That way they won't be too disappointed in case you fail. This is a form of self-sabotage, which is often linked with blind spot behaviors.
When you find out who's been sabotaging you, it's self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage is any thoughts or behaviors you exhibit to undermine or destroy accomplishing your own goals. Becoming aware of your blind spots and hidden potential is essential to grow as an individual and as a team member. Weekly MAG check-ins and the quarterly review process like Check-In Plus will help give you an opportunity to give and receive feedback. Additional exercises like going through the Johari window with your team will provide further opportunities to uncover blind spots. We will explore the Johari window in a separate video. It is also helpful to take time throughout your work week to be introspective. Honestly contemplating your traits and personality can give you further perspective. The following questions may be useful when examining yourself and also when you are asking someone else to answer questions about you. Am I rarely on time or usually running late? Do I say no when I feel I should? Or do I say yes just to avoid conflict or displeasing others? Am I always impatient? Do I talk more than I listen? Do I often interrupt people and dominate conversations? Do I realize the impact I have on other people? Do you value being right over being effective? Do you damage relationships because you like to make points? Do you blame other people when things go wrong, but never look at the role you played or accept responsibility? Do I have trouble making up my mind? Do I need to take time to think, but often the thinking leads to more indecisiveness and confusion? Do I dislike change? I may come around to it eventually, But am I always resistant initially? Do you often settle for second best because deep down you do not think that you are worthwhile? At Jack Cooper, you have the opportunity to discover your blind spots and work towards understanding yourself and your team better. There's a car coming up on your blind spot, son.
Thanks, Dad.
I'm so excited about our camping trip.
We are too, bud.
You don't always have someone who can help check your blind spot. But what a difference it makes when you do.